This is our destiny. We about to lift our community so we can be all around the world. Yeah, we gon' be all around the world. All around the world, going all around the world. Yeah, we gon' be all around the world. All around the world, going all around the world. We building wealth, leaving legacy. This is our destiny. We about to lift our community so we can be all around the world. Yeah, we gon' be all around the world. All around the world, going all around the world. Yeah, we gon' be all around the world. All around the world, going all around the world. We building wealth, leaving legacy.
Welcome to the SOS Show Live Sunday morning coffee conversation with Mary Evans and Marsha Easley. You have to see it for Marsha Easley. I am so excited to have you guys here today. We are talking about Black mental health matters. And that is a very important subject because we all know that it matters and it's something that we definitely need to have a conversation about. So Marsha, how are you doing this morning? So Marsha's doing great. We have a special guest. It looks like we having some things going on with your volume, Marsha. I'm going to continue on. Let's bring a special guest in, a counselor, Mrs. Lauren Burks. She is a very good friend of mine. We go way back when I had my counseling business. How are you, Miss Lauren?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Mary and Marsha.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Good.
Hi. Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay, good. I mean, you're here, Marsha. How are you?
I am just very blessed. Just blessed and
It
happy
goes
to be
your Okay. So we're gonna start this show off talking about what it looks like to you, Lauren, when you have individuals that's coming to your office, Black people of color. We hear all of these things that when we're dealing with pain or we're going through trauma, we don't seek help. And it's been myths that Black folks believe that if you go to get counseling, then you're crazy. We've been taught to suck it up, deal with it ourselves. Do you see that changing at all, Lauren?
I'm thinking about intergenerational trauma. And I'm thinking about how, mental illness and mental health is such a stigma, or viewed as such a stigma, and how we need to normalize and break that and end that stigma.
Absolutely. I want to just touch bases on the men, Lauren. And I recall this growing up as young as little boys, 3, 4, 5 years old. They could fall and hurt themselves, and the first thing you would hear, in particular their dad, get up, men don't cry, suck it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think, yeah, I mean, from little boys, that's all they heard. So what would they do? I've seen little boys get up and start to cry, and someone to tell them men don't cry, and you'll see them, and they suck it up and they hold it in. And I think that for some of our Black men, they have been sucking it up and holding it in so long, Lauren, till that's all they know. So they have been taught how to hold it in, but now how to deal with pain, trauma, and suffering. We have just taught them how to hold everything in. And I think that goes into their adulthood. Would you agree?
Yep, it's consequences to holding all that stuff in. And the consequences is if you have that anger and you keep it inside, anger not expressed is depressed. And when it comes out, and when it comes out, you explode. You know, you go from 0 to 10 and you don't have any ability to regulate yourself because you were just told to suck it up.
I think that's a point because I even experienced that. Marsha, I know you have boys. My boys play sports. And it's something how we don't know better. We don't see because we don't know. Even in their world of playing sports, if they was hit hard, what would they say? You okay? Get up. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
You know, keep going. And I would say that ladies, we are so emotional and it was okay for us to cry and show our emotions. And so now we have had different criteria for the man and for the woman when it comes to showing emotions. And I think again that goes over into our relationships.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And I think about number one is we're taught about anger is a very bad emotion, and anger is just an uncomfortable emotion. It's no such thing as a bad emotion. It's one of the 8 core emotions. So if we learn how to express anger appropriately, then it probably would help us not get into the conflicts that we get into.
That's a good point. To the
And you know
point
what?
that I think
That's a very good point, Mary, because I can actually kind of piggyback on myself with that because I remember years ago when I was working in the plant, first getting there, being a female electrician, the pressure of that, then marriage at home wasn't working. So I was feeling stressed. And, Black people don't like counseling, right? But I said, I'm going to go to a counselor just so I can get some time off of work. I didn't. And so I got there just trying to get some time off of work, right? So you have to go see a psychiatrist or a counselor. I'm in there talking, girl. By the time I got done talking, I was really crying, and I really did need this release and this counseling, because I said I would never go to a psychiatrist or counselor or something like that. And I was doing it for the wrong reason, but it actually ended up being legit. So yeah, we don't.
Okay, Marsha, share with us why did you feel that way? Why would you say to yourself you would never go to a psychologist counselor? Why did you feel that way?
Because it just didn't seem like the thing to do. I felt like I had enough common sense that I didn't need anybody else, pay anybody money to talk to them about stuff that what are they going to tell me? That's how I felt. Why would I pay somebody money just to talk to them about me? And I said, they're not, what are they going to say? They're going to just nod their head. They're going to say good. That was my mentality. That was my mentality at the time. I was like,
okay,
good.
So you found it to be different because you went, not that you thought they were going to help you. You went for different reasons and found out that counseling is definitely something that you now have changed the mindset about going to see counseling. Isn't that amazing? You hear that, Lauren? She was like, what could y'all tell me?
You think about that. Yeah, but you think about that. We have to shift and reshift our thinking. We have to reframe the way that we think. And even though it was like, okay, I went in there to try to get this paperwork signed. It's like, it's something that you really needed and your body needed it and you didn't even know.
Yep. That's so true.
Lauren, I would like to ask you a question. So since we're learned to hold everything in, we never taught how to really process trauma or process pain, take ourselves out of the situation and look back and make rational decisions because we were never taught that. We were only taught to hold on to it. Can you just give us some knowledge on when you're trying to process? Let's talk about a breakup. You're in a relationship. You're really in love with this particular person, and they come to you and say, look, this is not working. I don't want this anymore. You have to have some type of sense of learning how to process what is happening and making rational decisions. We don't even know how to process pain or trauma. What would you say would be the beginning to help someone if they were listening?
Well, first you have to give yourself permission to be able to sit with your uncomfortable feelings. and acknowledge the feelings that you are having, because they are your feelings. And
That's
then
the
once you're
first
able,
step.
yep, that's the first step. If you feel like you're having some type of physical concerns, then again, you go to your primary care doctor. You report those, because some of those could be a sign of depression. You don't know what, what
Okay.
impact that relationship had on you.
Okay. So because that's a big that's a really a issue that's very serious, because it has caused others to actually harm and even kill individuals when we had that show and it's time to go. So I want to read a comment Marsha hears. People are going to their friends, relatives for counseling when they need a professional to talk to. When my marriage ended, we spoke with the pastor and he was not qualified. Thank God I went to a professional. It really helped. Boy, that's deep.
Yeah.
So they are
Absolutely.
these people out here that's not qualified to consider themselves counselor. That's really instead of helping, they are really hurting them more.
Absolutely. And then they may not even know that they're hurting them, because they're just trying to be a friend. Like, the first thing that you'll learn as far as being a counselor is that you don't give advice. You don't give advice.
Mm. You don't give advice.
You
Can I
don't give
ask you,
advice.
how do you know if you're getting a good or bad counselor? Is it I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, you get somebody and they just there for the job. They don't even know what they're talking about. They're not qualified. But how do you actually find a good counselor? Because I had a son who had issues when he was growing up, and behavior problems, and he went to counseling. And I felt like those counselors did not even help him at all. I think
Mhm.
they didn't know what they were doing. I didn't see any improvement. So maybe I was impatient with the system, but I was like, how do you find a good counselor?
Okay. So a good counseling, or any type of change, happens in the context of a safe and supportive relationship. So it's about your relationship with that counselor. That's number one.
Okay.
Then to know that counseling is not a magic wand. So it is a process, and it takes not just your commitment, but that counselor's commitment too. And then y'all go on a journey together.
Okay.
I
So
like that.
yes,
I
so
like that. We
you can
do have
feel.
some statistics that we pulled up. We would like to share on the screen and let it sit a minute so individuals can read it. Black mental health really matters. And it's really important that we reach out to, sometimes family members won't reach out to them because I'm sorry, because that particular person. Sometimes we see signs. We have a lot of suicide even with our younger children that are committing suicide because they're depressed, not talking with anyone, that they feel like it just breaks my heart to feel like that they have taken their own life. I always think about if we just had one person, or they had one person that they feel like they could have talked to. Lauren, let's talk about that, children and mental illness. A lot of our kids are depressed. They're dealing with a lot right now with this COVID and homeschooling. Could you just please, when we come back to the screen with you, share with us just some things for parents that we might could enlighten parents to look for certain things, Lauren? Thank you
Yes.
for that.
So with parenting, it's really about being patient and knowing that just not you're dealing with this COVID. We're doing this pandemic with COVID. So not just you're dealing with it, but that child is dealing with it too. I know just a couple weeks ago, I was driving in the car with my daughter, and then she just started describing her school and like the fish and her teacher. And to think about it, she hasn't gone to face-to-face school since March. And she's
Yes.
missing that, and she's missing her friends. And here every day is just me, her, and her dad. So we need that social component, and our children are not getting that. So it's really
And
about
there's not an age limit on depression or anxiety for children.
right, right. You have younger kids 6 and under experiencing anxiety, and they don't have the words to say that I'm feeling anxious. They just feel keyed up.
Right. So that being said, because I think when we can get our children help as young as possible, it can really help them as they grow into adulthood dealing with anxiety, depression. Really, I think it should be classes in school. teaching about mental illness, depression, anxiety, and all the rest. To me, it should be like a required class, like they require you to take gym. So when you're dealing with those children that's not able to express themselves, Lauren, what are some of the things that you mentioned that they would act out, things that they're doing? I'm sure you've counseled the younger children as well. What are some of those things parents can look for?
Well, first of all, the first thing I teach children that are 6 and younger is to identify feelings, because you get a lot of households, again, they don't label their feelings. They don't say, I'm feeling mad, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling sad, and the child will just act out. So you'll see children that's hyperactive, restless, unable to focus, symptoms of ADHD, because ADHD mimics trauma.
Oh,
So we don't know what's going on in that house.
Yeah.
But behaviors have meaning. So when you have a child and they're acting out, that's their language. They're telling you something.
Okay. So that don't mean you always go run and grab a belt for every situation. That child could be trying to tell you something.
Nope. The first thing I tell any parent is, I'm a mandated reporter. I'm a mandated reporter.
Okay.
So nope. The thing is to seek to understand.
Seek to understand. I like that. Miss Marsha Harris, thank you for coming in and being on the show and asking and giving us good questions and remarks. Ms. Harris says, also parents are stressed and their children are internalizing their stress. Absolutely. Parents need to be mindful, and something the entire family needs to be in family counseling. That is so true.
Absolutely.
We just don't realize how much our children internalize our own anger, pain, trauma, watching a mom crying, know she's hurt, know something wrong. And a lot of times we push them away. I can remember, because, everything that I did as a mom wasn't perfect, but at the time I did the very best that I can in every situation that I was in. But I do remember going through stressful times, and I might say, get out of here, go in your own room. They know something is wrong with you. And I guess I hear you saying, sit down and have those conversations, talking about feelings in your household with your children. I like that.
But you know what? Go ahead, Lauren.
I was going to say, even developing some type of anger release program. So yeah, your child may have these uncomfortable feelings and be feeling all upset and riled up. What are we going to do to take care of that? Maybe we need to go outside and take a walk. Maybe we need to kick a punching bag. Maybe we need to tear up some paper. What are we going to do that, opposed to just, I'm so angry, I'm so mad?
I like it.
And I also get a lot of parents, and they say, well, I was feeling sad and I didn't want to cry in front of my child. And it's like, you're showing your child that this is a natural emotion to feel sad. So let's identify it. Let's label it.
Yes. Okay. That kind of piggyback on what we were talking about on another show, where Black people are very fast to be in denial that something is wrong with your child, especially with their kids. You can't tell them nothing wrong with your kids, and they just are very much in denial. And so they do not seek the extra schooling or counseling that they may need, because they don't think nothing's wrong with them. They think, like you say, give them a little whipping because they're being bad or acting out, and that's going to be the end. We're in denial.
Marsha, that is so true with a lot of parents. I've experienced it even when I was younger. You have heard a teacher or something, they're not always right, call and say, your child is having behavioral problems. Maybe we need to seek counseling, even sometimes offering medication. And I'm not saying that's always right, but Black mama's words, oh, he don't need no medication. What I'm going to do is whoop his A. That's what we going to do. How many times have you heard that? He don't need nothing but his A whoop. And it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I was a mother. I have said it too. Oh no, I know what he needs. And that's not true. And the reason why I'm sticking so hard on the children is because hurt children become hurt adults.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you don't just grow up and have these depression, anxiety. It usually is something that started as a child. When we talk about Black mental illness, matters when we hear over and over as a child, you don't go to counseling, you don't need to go to counseling, a person go to counseling, crazy, you take medication, you crazy. All of those things
Yep.
were things that we heard as a child. So then we went into our adulthood believing the same thing. And the purpose of this show is to talk to adults that feel that way, and also hoping that they will change their mindset, the way they're raising their children, and look at their behavior and things that they're doing. And let's not raise another generation thinking that it's something wrong to cry, it's something wrong with showing your emotions, it's something wrong to seeking counseling. Because at one point we have to stop somewhere, right?
Yep. And it makes
True.
me think about this. It makes me think about, do you want to raise your child in fear? Or do you want to raise your child where when they're facing a dilemma in life, they will approach you, and they know that you won't judge them, and they know that you will understand them, or are they going to hide things from you? So it's what
That's
type of
very
relationship
important.
do you want to have with your child?
And it
That's true.
matters. You know, when they say it
It
take a
matters.
village to raise a child, it's absolutely true, because I say, even if you can't talk to your parent, I hope that every child has someone in their life, whether it be the pastor, teacher, friend, aunt, uncle, that they can share their feelings with. And it's just so important to me to have relationships with the young children, your nephews, you know, your grandchildren, because we all need someone. And that's one thing that my nephews and my grandchild, they know that they can come to me and share things. My nephews have told me things that they didn't tell my sister, but that's okay, because that's an outlet for them. And like I say, if it's your next door neighbor and you feel comfortable with that conversation, I just want to say that it's so important, parents, to talk to your children about their feelings, talk to your kids about mental health, and not bullying. That's a whole different show. Lauren, we're having a show on bullying with the children next Saturday, matter of fact. And
Okay.
I would love if you could come on next Saturday with that show. We're going to have some young kids on talking about bullying. That's a very hot topic as well. But we're going to wrap the show up. And then, Lauren, I want to ask you, if there's anything you would like to leave our listeners with, what would that one thing be?
I would say, let's break the stigma of mental illness and mental health. Let's break the stigma. It's okay to talk about feelings. It's okay to sit with the uncomfortable. You know, let's not talk about bad and good emotions. It's comfortable or uncomfortable. And if it's uncomfortable feelings, what are we going to do about it?
I like that. What are we going to do about it? Would you let the audience know where can they reach you?
You can reach me at positiveChangeDetroit.com, or you can reach me at 313-356-6673.
Thank you so much. And Miss
Thank you for having
Marsha
me.
Easley, what would you like to leave our audience with today?
My thing is, I'm an autism advocate. I'm an autism mom. So I have to get on my soapbox for a minute, because we're talking about Black mental lives matter. And we have a very big population of people with mental health in jail. And a lot of them are on the autism spectrum. And we have people who don't know how, who are not trained to deal with them. They might be having a meltdown or a breakdown or something. And they are being labeled as acting out, or being, not being the law, but they're actually having mental issues. So that might be a whole nother topic, but it's something. If we talk about Black mental lives happen, we have to talk about that, because I know young men who are actually really autistic, and when you see them, they are very autistic in general population in jail. So it's just something I just had to put in there, and it needs to be addressed. And I don't know how you fit in with that, Lauren. Do you ever have to deal with people in the jail system that has the problems?
Yep, I haven't dealt with anybody in the jail system with autism, but I have dealt with 6 and under with autism. And the earlier you get your child diagnosed, the better the outcomes.
Yeah.
So just encourage all parents to, if you see some signs and symptoms that's not quite right, it doesn't hurt to bring in a professional to look at your child.
That's right.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to leave with this on Sunday morning conversation, coffee and conversation, or your tea, with Mary Evans and Marsha Easley. Please share the show. Hopefully, every time we have a show, it's all about who can we help, who can we motivate, who can we inspire. The SOS show stands for help. The SOS show stands for share our stories. And through sharing your story, you can help someone. And I want to thank you for listening and supporting the SOS show live with Mary Evans. Have a great evening and a nice holiday. Be safe.
Bye-bye.
I know they gon' remember me, 'cause I'm gon' leave a legacy.